top of the hill out there in Prattville, there was a filling station and had an outside pit where you walk down underneath it to work on a car. You know, you've seen those? So I said, oh man.
I was on the way from Chandler Park after you got us all messed up.
Yeah, but
you weren't dirty.
Yeah, I wasn't dirty and you guys was all muddy. So I said, okay, I better stop here and see if I can knock that muffler back on. So I pulled over the deal. It's dark. And all is well the first 2 steps. And then I slipped because there was grease. Whooshy, I got baptized and that thing was half full and grease was floating everywhere. And I went under and come up, and I mean, it was all over. It was just horrible. I mean, bad. So, boy.
We were late, so I said, you got to go, because my dad was really strict. I mean,
boy.
He was 9 o'clock school night, 10 o'clock weekend, and it was Sunday night. I was supposed to be home at 9 o'clock, and it was 9:30, and I said, you got to go in with me. I'm not going in by myself.
And then one time, it wasn't probably 2 weeks later, I still hadn't got that muffler fixed, and I was coming up that old hill. And I never did see the highway patrolman pull in behind me. And so he had his lights off. And when I pulled up, then he turned all the lights on. And he said, boy, you hadn't got that muffler fixed. I said, no, sir, I'm sorry. I will payday. Not good enough. Go in and get catfish. I said, well, who's catfish? He says, Mr. Billingsley to you. I said, oh.
This is Ron Fuel. He was about almost 7 foot. He was the biggest man I ever
So
met.
I went in and got him, and they come back out, and he had me in the front seat, and Cat was sitting in the back, and they gave me the 3rd degree. I mean, tell you, I said, well, I can pay you with the check. No, cash on the bell or you're going to jail tonight. And he had his gun pulled out. I said, oh, man, I'd never. So he said, well, I tell you what I'm going to do. He said, I'm going to give you this one last chance. He said, you've been warned and warned and warned. He said, if that's not fixed by tomorrow, I'm going to come and arrest you. I said, it will be fixed tomorrow. So I got out of the car, and
they were still out there.
Yeah, they was laughing. I mean, busting the gut.
Come in the house.
Yeah, and I said, I got to go home, and I said, I got to get this thing fixed, or I'm going to go to jail. So, and then another time when the window got broke out, he told me to get the window fixed, and it was raining like crazy, and I pulled in this filling station to see if they have some cardboard, and I didn't know that he was in there. You got any cardboard? He stuck his head around, and I said, oh no.
One time he followed you from our house to your house.
Oh my goodness, I'd run the stop sign. I don't even know how
3
many
stop
times.
signs, broke the speed limit,
Yeah.
changed, turned with it, I don't know what, finally he stopped him down by the steel.
About 6 violations.
Yeah, he said finally he just went up to
Yeah.
JR, I really ought to write you a ticket, but next time you better behave a little better or something like that.
Yeah.
You give him a ticket. But he was around anywhere we went Sunday nights after church. If we'd go out, we'd go and get something. For too long, we'd see this patrol car.
Well, he put the spotlight on us.
Yeah, he put the spotlight.
Yeah. He wouldn't know.
We were in the church parking lot.
Yeah.
What'd
He'd be
you
just sitting
do?
there. All that
Where'd
spotlight be
you go
all
with
over,
it?
you know.
Spotlight, flashing light.
You know, just. That was kind of what it was.
Thing about small
Having a
towns.
highway patrol for a next door neighbor.
My coach
But his son,
done when
Dolores, had got a brand new little old Ford.
this kid
Oh, that
Billy
that
come
wasn't
home
their
from
son.
the
That
military.
Yeah, it was. Ricky Tyler.
Yeah, that was Ronald Fuel.
Oh, that's right,
Yeah.
that's right. That was another kid.
Yeah, it was his kid.
But he come.
Blue Ford.
I don't know if it was the blue Ford or the little brown one. Which one was
He
it?
would be there watching.
That he scratched.
I had the blue one.
Was it?
I had the old car. Daddy got me the 49 Ford for graduation,
Yeah.
and then I had the blue
Well,
one.
this kid, he come by and raked her side of her car with his bike. She couldn't believe it. So years later, over at Quick Trip, he come in the office over there and he stuck his head in the door and he said, J.R. Hill. And this kid probably must have been about 6'5", 6'6".
He
I
was a
said,
neighborhood terror.
you have me. I said, I don't. He says, I'm Ricky Tyler. And I said, Ricky Tyler. And he said, yeah, you remember the little brat that used to live across the street that harassed Dolores? I said, oh.
Scratched her car.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Brat.
Yeah. But, yeah, that was our little romancing back the deal. And, but I think probably the funniest thing that ever happened on our senior banquet, they invited all the church kids of Tulsa area downtown. One of the big buildings had a restaurant up at the top.
I can't remember what it was.
And I think there must have been 3 or 4 forks on the left, that many spoons and that many knives. It was unreal. I mean, you know.
Oh, yeah, we're having 1 fork, 1 knife, and a spoon.
So we all sat down there, and finally somebody picked up before everybody grabbed that one. I mean, you know, that was the deal. I mean, you know.
Hot silver.
So I had never been that high in a building before, so we go out on this balcony. So I just spit.
Right down to the... Oh, we were hicks.
Yeah. So it was funny.
Your grandpa. Oh. Your great-grandmother and grandpa had just bought a new car.
Uh-oh, I never forget that.
And that's when 41st Street between Berry Hill and Prattville was gravel.
It was and called roller coaster.
And it was steep.
Yeah.
You know, when they paved it, they
It was
cut
a little
way down.
opal. That's what it was.
It was
called.
an
It was a
opal.
little opal.
I mean, it wasn't
Sunday
even 2
afternoon.
weeks old.
And I know what it was. And Leroy wanted to break up with Karen, and so we decided. Leroy says, "I tell you what we'll do."
Well, what's that got to do with the car?
Well, I know, but let me tell the rest of the story, and then you can tell it. He says, "Let's go get some beech nut and we'll chew tobacco while we take this ride." And he said, "And then she'll break up with me." Now you can tell the rest of the story.
Anyway, he was driving too fast on
Oh
the road.
my!
And he went airborne coming over one of those hills. And when he came down, it just boing,
And when
boing,
he, yeah.
just run that.
And I swallowed the chewing tobacco. I had a mouthful.
But your grandpa got in trouble for that one.
Yeah.
He got in big trouble.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to go home and tell him. We
Yeah.
heard this story back
But we
then.
didn't get broke up. So
Well,
that time.
you did too.
No, not that time.
Yeah,
it
you
was
did
the
too,
onions
but
thing.
you called me when. Oh, with the onions. Yeah.
It was the onions, so that didn't work.
Leroy was always wanting to break up with Karen for
Yeah.
some reason.
And so
John was going
that
with him.
and so that chewing tobacco didn't work. So we had raw onions, and we went over to their house.
Oh, Karen and Leroy did break up, and then you broke up with me. You said, "Well, I think we're, you know," and then you get home and call me back. I was just kidding. I was just kidding.
Yeah.
Leroy wanted to do that.
Yeah, I can't remember what. So, but
Leroy and Lawrence and J.R. They were your great grandparents.
but the Fiendly,
Leroy or Lawrence that was
he
driving?
had an old Mercury that had the suicide doors that opened
John
up
and Leroy and Karen.
yeah,
always-
yeah.
back, and somehow he had hit his car, and one light shined up in the trees, and the other ones, you know. So when you was going down through there, it would, you know. So most of the cars were just, you know,
Junkers.
yeah, junkers, but they were just, you know, standard shifts. So we got in his car and put it in neutral and rolled it a couple of blocks away from the house. And